Hey friends, welcome back to the Master Menopause Metabolism podcast. Today we are diving into something every midlife woman has heard about or has a friend on or is wondering about in these wonderful GLPs. So what are they? Are they helpful? Are they dangerous? What's the scoop for midlife women? Should they be on them? What? So I'm going to break this down in real time so that you get a really good idea and you'll know how to navigate this by the end of this podcast. Okay. So tune in. There's some really good things I want to share. And I also want to open up I want you to know you can always schedule a call with me. And it's going to be amazing. We're going to actually go through specifically what's going on. So if you're curious about GLP-1s, but don't want to wreck your hormones or rebound hard, you can do a call and we can talk about how to do it. So inside the Tone for Life method, we do things different from testing to training. We design your protocol around unique biofeedback. GLP-1 is optional, it's never required. So apply now to see if it's the right fit, and you can do that by just, sending me a quick DM that says, GLP or whatnot. We'll get you going. But all right, let's dive in. It's going to be a fun topic. I can't lie to you. I am super excited about this. So GLP-1s in midlife, miracle, mistake, or metabolic reset. So basically, everyone's whispering about GLP-1s, Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro, like they're the golden ticket to our weight loss. But here's the truth. What works short term can wreck your hormones. So metabolism as well and muscle for the long haul. So I know you all want to look good. I know you all are trying your hardest. And I know you all don't want it to take too long. But unless you do it right, you could actually see this whole thing backfiring on you, honestly. So I'm going to break down the good, the bad, the real strategy for the GLP-1s with your hormones in mind. So first off, what the heck is a GLP-1? So I think we've heard peptides, GLP, then we're just like, oh, Ozempic. I had one woman say, you mean Olympic? She's so cute. I was like, sure, yeah, Olympic. But, whatever. So it's GLP-1 equals glucagon, like peptide 1. So it's a hormone that's made in your very own gut that helps you with one, insulin secretion. So if you've tuned in at all, you know how important insulin is to this whole thing. We talk about the blood sugar roller coaster, keeping insulin at bay. If it goes up, it should come right down. We don't want long time of insulin, right? Also think about how I've talked about spacing your meals out. So insulin secretion, this actual hormone, helps with that. It also slows stomach emptying. So it's actually slowing the process down. And what that can do is it also slows down and helps you to be able to better digest and get in the nutrients to your body. Okay, so it slows stomach emptying. You're going to feel fuller longer. That's why some people are like, sometimes I feel like overly full on it because it actually is slowing things down. It reduces your appetite. Knowingly, just because you have the insulin secretion, your stomach is slowing down, and then it supports that blood sugar control. So if you're somebody who has lately seen the A1C creep up over the years, maybe you've had a couple of high blood pressure measures, that kind of thing, or even went as far to have a glucose measure that you wore, and you could see a lot of high blood sugars and whatnot lasting too long. It's definitely something to think about. So medications mimic this to help people lose weight, manage blood sugar, and reduce their cravings. So another big thing you can think about is that food noise. You're going to have a lot less food noise, meaning you're going to be so satiated, your inflammation's going to be down. We're slowing the stomach emptying, reducing appetite, so you're not going to have as much chance or desire to go and nibble at food and snack and get your, your body going that way. So it's great that way. But when you shut down your appetite too much, you're not only going to lose weight, you're risking muscle hormones and long-term metabolism. So a couple of real life clients I have talked with and worked with that their doctor had prescribed the meds. I tried to work with them and I said, this is 2 years ago. Okay. So they had gone on a full dose with their doctor, and they had come to me for nutrition and workout help so they didn't lose their muscle. And what I found is that they were not eating at all. Like, they just had so low of an appetite, and then they were super nauseated. And so they couldn't even really eat like eggs or egg whites, or just like even just the protein portion, they weren't able to get in. They just were not hungry. So that to me was very worrisome. I thought, how are we going to build muscle? Because if you guys have ever heard me talk too about the pyramid, right? Like, we are taught in nutrition coaching and whatnot that basically one angle of the pyramid is like losing weight, right? The other is athletic performance or building muscle. Those two, they work against each other. So in combination, if you're looking to burn body fat and lose weight and get your body composition lower, you will lose muscle, and you're not going to have as good of athletic performance or the ability to build muscle. So think about when you drastically take down your appetite, you're not eating enough, that's going to be twofold. And this doesn't take that away. So that it's the same thing. So you have to have some sort of an appetite so that you strength training so that you're still able to keep and build your muscle. And so that was what I had found back in the day. And so I was really I was like, wow, why would you ever do Ozempic if you're not going to be able to eat, and then you're, just not going to be able to do anything and feel good. So that was a big, big kind of red flag to me, but I've learned a lot of things since then, and I'll share those with you today. So section 2 here is like, we're going to talk about the midlife danger of going in blind, okay? So I just want you guys to be completely educated. Remember, I am the why person. I want to know why the math equation is that way and how did they come up with it. And if I don't know, it's really hard for me to do that equation. So I feel like a lot of the women who tune in to my podcast are very much the same. They're like, fine, I'll eat the protein, I will do the strength workout and whatnot, but I need to know why. I need to know, what's the point of this? What good is it going to do me? And then I'm much more apt to want to do it. So women 40 plus already lose their lean mass rapidly with age and estrogen decline. So remember, when we go into perimenopause, into menopause, postmenopause, our estrogen plummets, okay? So it becomes erratic at first, progesterone goes way down. That's the first perimenopause, issue. And then the second is, then the estrogen not only is erratic, but it goes away. And we don't have the ability to keep our lean muscle mass as well. So we have to do extra things. And that's why we talk a lot about, like, hey, the game has changed now that we are older. It's not the same. So what you did in your 20s and 30s to get rapid weight loss, A, is not going to work, but B, is actually going to work against you. So GLP-1s make it worse, you guys, if it's not paired with protein-centric nutrition, hormone support. So having the right amount of DHEA, testosterone, estrogen, making sure your thyroid is in good order, and functional testing. So red flags in this whole thing are, well, let's kind of stop. Let's go back. So what is protein-centric nutrition? Like, we all pretty much know that, but I feel like a lot of us know it, but we don't do it consistently. And I'm a guilty just as guilty of it as anyone else. If I don't think about and be intentional about getting the protein, it's definitely something that is under 100, maybe 125 grams. And remember, it's important for me, especially to be getting, because I weigh 150 pounds, is to get 140 grams typically, and so if I don't really think about it, it's hard for me to do that. So even, because now I am, going to be 50 soon. So, and then most of them we're working with, it is just foundational that they're getting 125 grams a day, just foundational. Like that's not even like, wow, we're doing extra stuff here. That's just like, you're keeping your body alive. You're making sure that you're going to actually even just maintain and have some hope to keep what you have muscle wise. And then when we go into hormone support, like having the right hormone replacement bioidentical is really important, and knowing that your thyroid is in a good place. Because if any of these things are off and then you just go on a GLP, that could also go wrong too. So that's why we like to do functional testing. So that way we can see, all right, what is your body doing with all of these levels? What's your T3, your T4, your TSH panel? And we went over that in last week's podcast. So if you missed that, go back, listen to how you're going to do that with your doctor. And then in our program as well, we have a myriad of tests to see what's going on. So red flags with this whole thing are fatigue, hair loss, plateau, worsened belly fat after stopping. So those are, things that you want to avoid. And so this is how you do it. You be very strategic, intentional, make sure you're crossing your T's, dotting your I's. So figuring out what's going on with your body first, that everything is good, making sure you have enough protein and going forward. And then if you do start having like too much fatigue, you're losing your hair, that kind of thing, then we need to probably decrease the dose. So GLP-1s aren't evil, but if you're not pairing them with muscle protective strategies, they become a Band-Aid with a really high price tag. And it makes me wince, because I think of those women who are 180 to 190 pounds and they have 80 to 85 pounds of muscle overall, lean muscle mass on their body. So then it's like, wow. And then they go on a GLP and they get to 140. But even if 20 to 30% of that is muscle, holy cow. So they were already as low as 85 pounds of lean muscle mass, which isn't very much. And now they've burned off 20 to 30% of that. So they're going to bring them down into the 60-pound range for muscle. And so what that is going to do long term is going to be scary. Okay. So this again is why you have to be careful. So I know it's a lot of like, oh my gosh, Andrea, I would never go on a GLP. Are you crazy? So when I'm telling you this, but I'm also going to talk about how we do it and use it correctly in my program. Okay. So you just don't want the Band-Aid with a high price tag. So you don't want to do this blindly, I'm telling you. So this is how we are using GLPs in our program. So they're used only in the context typically, okay? So I'm always out there battling budgets and what people feel like they can, kind of step into. And it's like, yeah, everything has a cost. But if I was to prioritize and say, you know what, this is how it would be done correctly so that it's not going to come back and bite you, you would have a full hormone evaluation, like a Dutch, a GI map, along with some inflammatory markers. And you'd also look at your blood work that has been done with your TSH, your T3, T4. You'd look at your A1C, all of that. And then the next step, so that way, we can see everything's in order, or if it's not, we're going to work on these things in conjunction with a GLP or to help. Or we're going to get these things in order and then we're going to go on a GLP. Fine, no big deal. Always supported with 130 to 140 grams of protein a day minimum. So that's a big part. And so then we have to talk about like Biofeedback tracking. So how is a person feeling? So basically, we titrate the dose, meaning it will say 50 units of the GLP GIP B12 compound, and that is their dose for the first month. We don't just have people go on that dose, we have them start very low. So they're going to be doing like 7 to 10 mils 2 times a week just to see how their body reacts. And then we slowly titrate that dose up to make sure everything is good. So this takes a lot of biofeedback. So you have to be in tune with your body, in tune with what you're eating, in tune with, also constipation, because here we go, we're going 130 to 140 grams of protein a day. Plus, your digestion is slowing down. So, what's that going to create? It's going to create a detox issue if you're not going to the bathroom. So, then we need to figure out that. So, we have to really kind of aim for a certain amount of fiber. We have to make sure that water is going into the bowels, and that we have maybe a supplement in place, like something as basic as like a mag citrate or a glycinate, so that you are taking that and then we can continue to be regular and don't have an issue there. And we have to watch the dose, because if that becomes a big issue, you kind of need to back off a little. And then resistance training. So making sure that you have a strength training protocol that you are following every single week is so important, because like we don't want to say goodbye to that muscle. So it's important to be working on this, every week consistently in like a real periodization plan, so that you can be building muscle for sure. And then we also have the estrogen, progesterone, testosterone if needed, so in conjunction with. So, this can be part of a temporary tool, the higher dose. It's not a permanent solution, but some people do microdose and they just are like, I feel so much better and it's turned my health around. And it's really, really great. So they want to stay on it. So I'm not saying you have to make a decision right away. I think you need to feel it out, see how you feel. But again, it's always about those, lifestyle factors and consistently doing all the right things. But if I have a client who's been habit-based and doing great, we know their hormones are in check. We've tested everything. Their thyroid is good. They get their protein. They've been walking 6,000 steps a day and they're still pretty stuck, then I'm like, yeah, I think it's time to get on a GLP in a micro dose or a lower dose, or slowly titrate up, keep the protein high, keep the habits you're doing, and it's going to bring down inflammation. You're going to start to burn more body fat and it's going to start to work. So it's really not about using, it's not about using less willpower. It's about using more strategy. That's what we're talking about, is how to really strategize and use it correctly. So section 4, who it's actually right for here. So perimenopausal, menopausal women who have done the work, who have made sure that their methylation scores are good, they're detoxing well, we've checked, we know they don't have gut issues, and their hormones. Like, we have a general idea. And the Dutch is a great broad kind of spectrum test to look at all of those things. So we can do that and just make sure, everything is good. And then we have protocols in place to be doing that, and they've done the work. So still struggling though with cravings, insulin resistance, or pre-diabetes, that tells me they just need a little help. And my gosh, we have something that can do that. Why wouldn't we use it? If I have something that in a low dose is going to give you the boost to get rid of inflammation, take down your cravings, help you overcome insulin resistance, and bring those pre-diabetic blood sugar numbers, that may be creeping up to 95, 100 on fasting A1Cs, I would do it. Why not? Or they need a kickstart while rebuilding their metabolism. So it's a great way to do that, especially I think of those women who are, 85, 90 pounds of muscle. They do weigh 180, so their body in proportion, it doesn't look that toned anymore. They've been doing quite a bit of things. And they then need to kind of get rid of the inflammation, get their body to start burning fat more and do that kind of work. It's perfect. But they're not a bridge, GLPs are a bridge. They're not a boat, okay? They're not a magic fix. Like, it's not like you take them and suddenly your body just magically starts losing weight. It does start magically getting rid of inflammation and managing that insulin resistance, the blood sugar, all of the things in perimenopause and menopause that are keeping you from the body you want. But if you don't use it correctly, it's actually going to come back to kind of bite you. So we use them to help you cross to the other side. And then hopefully you're not floating on forever. So if you're on them, great. Use them and use them responsibly. Make sure you're maintaining muscle, eating protein, doing all the things, and then get to your maintenance or goal weight and decide, do you want to stay at a low dose, forever to keep that food noise at bay, or are you ready? Are you ready to go off? And then how's that going to look maintenance wise? Are we reverse dieting you out? You know how important those are. I'll be talking about that. So it's just really important to use them like anything else responsibly. So, and I will tell you, it's like anything else. What works for Jane doesn't work for Wanda. Meaning, just because your neighbor has gotten on something and lost a ton of weight and looks totally different, you have no idea what their muscle mass is when they're throwing around, I've lost 30 pounds, I've lost 60 pounds. That's not always a good thing. And also they could have had less inflammation or less things to kind of deal with as well in their body. So, their body is not fighting through the inflammation, because what a GLP will do when it's increased that hormone, because it is hormone in your gut, is it will basically start working on the inflammation and the things that are not functioning well to kind of bring those down. It doesn't always equate to immediate fat loss. So that's not always it. So, first things first, what worked for Wanda doesn't work for, Jennifer, okay? Or, whatever. It's just going to be, you're going to have your own journey with this. And then also the dosing is very important. You don't just want to go up on your dose and be there. You want to acclimate, let your body do it, find out how you deal with the side effects, make sure you're not losing your appetite, and then you slowly want to build that protein up. And again, it's not a magic fix, it's not a magic pill. And I think that is the idea that some people get. And I'm definitely like, it's amazing. It's amazing to have this tool in the toolbox. So you don't have to do this for 5 years, like strength training, consistently building up muscle after the age of, 50. It certainly can be done, but it is definitely a longer term game than adding in a GLP and doing strength training at the same time. Like, you're getting another tool in the toolbox that just certainly helps you to get there a little bit faster. So definitely cool, but not a magic fix. It's a tool. It's a tool. All right. So, if you're curious about GLPs, but don't want to wreck your hormones or rebound hard, DM me GLP and I'll send you my honest, science-backed, like notes on you, especially. Or, just kind of knowing inside our method, we do things different from testing to training. We design the protocol around your unique biofeedback, your body. And a GLP-1 is optional, never required, but you can apply to see if it's a great fit. Because I have some people who want to go right on. They do well, and then I give them a guide with what to do from week to week, coach them on that, make sure all of those things are happening so they're doing it responsibly. And it's worked really well. So yeah. All right, guys, hopefully this has been helpful, insightful. Next week, I'm going to talk a little bit more about, something we don't talk a lot about, which is like what type of HRT would be beneficial, especially if you've lost your libido, if you're not really feeling quite right. So I'm excited to dive into that. And I'm going to talk to you guys about that and how to get that. All right, thanks. Have a great rest of your day and make sure to DM me GLP.